my wife thought I was silly, but I was like, this is probably the greatest Christmas gift I've ever gotten. You know, I'm simple when it comes to that. And welcome back to the garden. Today I'm going to be showing you what we use for our potting mixes. It's been pretty successful for our bananas. So we want to try to replicate the same for our passion fruit that we might be giving out to some family and friends. And also our starfruit that's grown in the same pot, so I'm going to have to be real delicate with those. But right here we have just some potting mix. This is about one of the only ones that I could find that was decent price, and it's also got a bunch of perlite, vermiculite, and then also a bunch of fines and everything else like that in it, so that way it's going to be able to hold that moisture as well as drain out real well, just because we don't want to make any of our soil anaerobic. Also we have some play sand, so this is already pre-rinsed and everything. If you're getting sand, trying to do it for the cheap, if you have a nice sandy beach with some coarse sand on it, you could always go and grab a few 5-gallon buckets. People might be looking at you funny, but that was kind of where my apprehensions were. But I think next time I'll probably go down by the river and get some nice coarse sand, just because it's also going to be having a bunch of the locked in nutrients and everything that you're going to be able to find that naturally come in nature, you know, as if this was going to be grown right next to the river, you know, because a lot of the tropics like to have that additional humidity and really rich soils and everything. But that's for next time. And then also we have a cactus mix, so it's going to be a little bit larger particle pieces. And also, you know, I'm just going to be using that as another substrate, so it'll also help it drain, but also hold a little bit more of that moisture. So I'm trying to play a balancing act, but also, you know, you're going to have different types of fertilizers in each of this. So a cactus mix isn't going to have as much nitrogen, because usually nitrogen makes cactus a little bit stringy, but it does have a lot more of that phosphate, as well as potassium and those other micronutrients. And also a little additive I'm going to be doing that I didn't do for the bananas is crab and lobster shell. So the instructions on this is going to be 1 pound for every 50 pounds, and I'm just going to eyeball it because I don't like measuring things out. Just a little note on the crab and lobster shell. So what it's really high in is nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, chitin, and also I've seen a few things online where they say that it helps reduce the nematodes because of the calcium and also the sharp edges on it. So that way they're less likely to develop and rot out your roots. So definitely a good additive to what we're building. And now we get ready for probably the third most exciting part of doing plants in containers and getting ready for putting it in the ground is transplanting them from one container to another. I'd say probably your first is getting that first piece of fruit off, and then second would probably be seeing that seed germinate, and you're actually getting to see life become anew from, you know, something that you just ate. It was definitely a great feeling whenever I first saw it. But we're going to be getting these ready, loaded up with our soil media, and dousing it up and getting it ready to go in the greenhouse for its next stage of life. And so if I was doing seedlings, I'd probably fill them up pretty much up to the top and let the water kind of soak them down and then bring them lower. But because I'm doing a transplant, I want to do most of them at about quarter to half full. And so that way, whenever I'm putting in the new media, I can fill in the soil around it instead of trying to push back the dirt. I've done it before and it's not fun. So we do it halfway full, and then as soon as I get the plant in there, I'll fill it around with soil, and then I'll bring them to get watered, probably 3 plants at a time. Just so that way, you know, they're not necessarily going dry. They shouldn't go dry in that amount of time, but just makes me feel better. And then also, we have Starfruit and Passionfruit in here, both. Originally I planted the Starfruit, but I thought that they didn't make it, they were never going to germinate or anything like that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just push some Passionfruit. You know, this is about 2 months later, and as the Passionfruit were all kind of coming up and, you know, doing their thing, around Christmas time, it was a great Christmas gift, but I saw that there was Starfruit popping up, and my wife thought I was silly, but I was like, this is probably the greatest Christmas gift I've ever gotten. You know, I'm simple when it comes to that. So I'm just going to be putting these over, and I want to be super delicate with the Starfruit, just because they are harder to come by. They're a lot more delicate, and I also have enough Passionfruit in here to kind of go around. So yeah, here goes something. So here you can see I have 2 Starfruit coming out of the same. I'm gonna do my darndest to try to keep them salvageable and in good condition while I put them in. Starfruit are very finicky, so I might have to try a few more rounds of these before I get an actual solid plant. But here we go. Just give it a couple pats so they can be solid and upright. And goes off to the side. All right, and now for the Passionfruit. I probably have enough pots to do them all, but I'm just gonna pick the biggest and strongest ones, and then if I end up running out of pots, then the rest will just be composted. And then we'll see. Or maybe I might put them in the ground. We'll see what I decide, you know, by the time I get done with this. Stay tuned. Got our various Passionfruit and Starfruit, different areas. I want to give the Starfruit just a little bit of shade behind the dragon fruit so they're not getting all day sun. They're just getting just enough, covered in the canopy. And I'm trying the Passionfruit in different areas of the greenhouse with lots of shade versus not that much, especially because the sun's at the south end, which is the right hand side over here. And you know, while we're in here, I did give the dragon fruit a little bit of that haircut that we were talking about, and so that way we can aim up towards all vertical growth. Transplanted the moringa. That's in one of my shorts videos I just posted. I'm going to plant the other ones in here as well, in whatever space I can find. But yep, then we got our old mango friend. We're just going to keep pushing him along. He's enjoying the heat. Most plants enjoy heat. It's just they need the water for the heat, especially those tropicals. You know, they're going to like increased heat. Anything over pretty much 102, they're not really able to produce with photosynthesis. So that's why keeping the humidity up and evaporative cooling, you know, active, insulating the ground whenever you have them in ground with mulch or anything like that, it's going to go a long way. And remember, life's a garden. Dig it.